Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. Today we're talking about Justice League. I know you probably can't see the poster behind me because it's kind of small, but it's there. So we're talking about Justice League, the long-awaited film for the DC comic fans. Did it live up to the hype? Was it worth the wait? Well, the short answer is no, but I can go a little bit more in-depth than that. So, first of all, what did I think of the movie as it stands on its own? It was okay. If you like Man of Steel, or you liked Batman v Superman, or Suicide Squad, or any of those, you'll probably like it because it's a superhero film, but it runs into the problem that I've been saying is going to all along, is DC was in such a hurry to catch up with Marvel. They didn't take the time to establish their universe, and what should have been a lead up to Justice League being the culmination, they did a couple movies and like, hey, here's Justice League, and then we'll branch out from there. So it really doesn't feel like they earned the Justice League movie. They didn't really establish anything. And there's enough in this movie they could have established something prior to going into this. Really, they should have just spent this year putting out all the superhero movies to lead into Justice League, and then next year put out Justice League, and it would have probably been fine. But overall, because they didn't do that, it turned out to be a pretty mediocre film. So basically, the film is about, there are 3 mother boxes on Earth, which if you don't know what the mother boxes are, there's this character called Darkseid, who's basically the DC equivalent of Thanos from the Marvel Universe, which is coming up in Infinity War. And he lives on this planet called Apocalypse, and he has these things called mother boxes, which are basically sentient computer systems that can kind of terraform any world that he goes to into a planet like his own, basically expanding his kingdom. Well, there's 3 of these on Earth, and they've kind of sat dormant for eons, and now all of a sudden they've decided to wake up and send out a signal, and that brings Steppenwolf to the planet. And if you don't know who Steppenwolf is, he's basically, I believe he's Darkseid's uncle, but also one of his top generals or whatever in his army. So he is kind of sent ahead of time as Darkseid's herald to kind of take over the planet and claim it in the name of Darkseid, where Darkseid doesn't have to actually do anything himself. So Steppenwolf comes to Earth and starts claiming all the mother boxes. The Justice League kind of has to come together to stop him. And the reason the Justice League comes together is because Batman recruits them, but the reason he recruits them is because in his research of these mother boxes, he finds out that one is possessed by the Amazons, one is possessed by the Atlanteans, and the other one is somewhere among the realm of man. So he assembles his team together to try and stop Steppenwolf from uniting the mother boxes and destroying Earth. And they find out they can't defeat him on their own, or as a team they need Superman. So resurrection happens and blah blah blah. Superman comes in, saves the day. Batman has a boy crush on Superman, which is really annoying. Isn't Batman at all. Heroes win, end of movie. Like I said, my main problem with this movie is they didn't take the time to establish the universe. Had I been doing this film, the way I probably would have done it was, had Man of Steel, because that's your setup for this new universe. Then they did Batman versus Superman because they wanted to establish that Batman was already around and he was this older character. He's been doing this for years or whatever. But really what I would have done at that point was done a Joker Harley Quinn movie with Batman as a secondary character, where Batman's coming after Joker and Harley Quinn, so he's already established as being this thing that's been around for a while, but have it from the point of view of Joker and Harley Quinn, so you get more of that almost Suicide feel. And I would have saved Suicide Squad for much later. So now you've got Superman established, you have Batman established. Then you can kind of go into Batman versus Superman just for the introduction of Wonder Woman at that point and kind of leading into how she's been absent for 100 years or whatever, and she's kind of coming back into the fold. And then, of course, go ahead with the Wonder Woman movie exactly the way it is, but the only thing I would have really changed there is I would have talked about the mother box that the Amazonians possessed. You know, like when they do the opening training sequence with Diana at a young age and she's training with her aunt could be explained like, if you continue your training and you go into this line of guardship, you'll be guarding this mother box that we've been guarding for 100 years or whatever, and, you know, kind of give a little bit of dialogue about the mother box, but have it just be a small, like, 2-minute side piece in the movie that has nothing to do with anything else. It's just there to establish that it exists. Then have the rest of Wonder Woman be exactly as it was. Then you can use the Aquaman movie to establish that they have the second mother box. Then you do a Cyborg story, which would have actually worked out a lot better, because the thing is, everyone has seen Superman's origin 100 times. Everyone has seen Batman's origins 100 times. Wonder Woman, people mostly know the origin because those are the big three. But there's a lot of the other characters that people don't know the origins of, such as Aquaman. People just think, oh, he's the guy who can talk to fish. And it's this running meme on the internet of millennials who've never known anything about Aquaman, haven't read Aquaman. They're just going off this old concept from the 80s Hanna-Barbera Super Friends series where everyone made the joke that, oh, Aquaman doesn't do anything except talk to fish. And they don't realize Aquaman's a lot more powerful than you give him credit for. And it would have been good to have the Aquaman movie, which we are eventually going to get, but it would have been better to have the origin story to explain Aquaman's origins to the people who don't know. Then you establish that the Atlanteans also have this mother box, which is why Aquaman has to come back and be the king to help protect the mother box. Then you can have the Cyborg story, who's another character a lot of people know nothing about. How did he become how he is? And when I was mentioning this to a guy at work, he's like, well, they already showed that in Batman v Superman. And it's like, no, they showed a tiny little clip of him becoming Cyborg, but they don't explain how all that happened. And that would have been the better thing to do, is have a Cyborg-esque movie. Even if you don't have Cyborg as the main character and kind of have it wrapped around something else, have the Cyborg origin story somewhere that explains that he now possesses the third mother box, and because of what happened to him, he goes and hides it so no one else can get access to it, and he's kind of his protector. That sets up Cyborg. Then if you want to go into a Suicide Squad movie, you can. But honestly, before that, I would have done a Flash movie, because the Flash movie can set up the entire Rogues Gallery to lead into Suicide Squad. Because Flash has one of the more extensive Rogues Galleries in existence, so it could set up like he battles all these people and puts them into the lockup to where they can team up later and become Suicide Squad. But Suicide Squad doesn't really need to exist in this universe. It's kind of a standalone thing, other than they'll probably come in to join the fight as the good guys when Darkseid actually shows up. So you can establish it, but don't have it be one of your main movies of this period. Honestly, you really don't even need a Flash movie, because, again, we have the TV show that kind of explains his origins, even though that's separate from this universe. But you introduced in Batman v Superman that Flash exists, so then when you're finally leading into a Justice League movie, you have him be the final recruit that Bruce Wayne goes out and gets, which was a scene in this movie, him recruiting Barry Allen. And that's where you have the Flash come in. My problem with the Flash in this movie is he's already the Flash, which, yes, he could already have his powers, but he's basically a loner. He has no technical support. He has no involvement with Star Labs yet he has this friction suit that's supposed to keep, his clothes from burning up or whatever. And it's like, okay, where did he get that? Where did he get this technology? How does he have the knowledge to build all this himself? Because they basically don't establish him as a genius in this like they do in every other series that features the Flash. Instead, they make him autistic. Like, seriously, he is autistic in this movie. He doesn't get social cues. He doesn't understand simple things like brunch and things like that. Like, even the way he moves around and, communicates with people, he says, he can't relate to other people because everyone else seems slow to him, but at the same time, he kind of seems slow and dense to everyone else that is on the team, and he just really comes off, I know they're trying to make him come off as the excited nerd, but they're really making him autistic in this, which isn't Barry Allen. Barry Allen is a freaking genius, and if you just establish that, yeah, he's a genius, it would sort of explain why he's able to have the suit without any involvement in Star Labs yet, just like Spider-Man's able to come up with all his stuff without any involvement because he's a genius. So Barry Allen could have really been the Spider-Man of this universe, which is kind of what he is in the overall aspect of the whole thing. But no, they're just like, oh, this autistic kid managed to come up with a suit that's made out of similar materials to all the space shuttles. Where did he get this? How did he get this? How does he have the knowledge to do this? So on and so forth. And they just kind of glance over it. That would have been the perfect opening act to a Justice League movie once you have all the other characters established. Then you have, well, he's going through training with the other members. Steppenwolf shows up, steals the box from the Amazon, steals the box from the Atlanteans, and then they're like, we never found out what happened to the third box, and then Cyborg goes missing like he does in this, and kind of comes back with, the third box is what made me what I am, I've been hiding it all this time, and we need to keep it safe, and it would have flowed a lot better had they established more of the universe. I know going forward, when they get to the Flash movie, they want to do Flashpoint, so they can change a bunch of stuff, which was already kind of established in Batman v Superman when you see Flash come back, and he says, oh, am I too early? movie. They're establishing that they're going to do Flashpoint. Personally, I kind of think Flashpoint would be good to where they can just kind of explain changes that they want to make without having to film a whole nother movie. It's just kind of like, oh, the Flash changed everything, so now we've recast a couple characters, and this hasn't happened, but this happened, or this is a different way now. And it would kind of make sense to do, but at the same time, like the guy I work with said, you haven't established your universe to make people give a damn that anything changed. The thing with the CW's Flash TV show, they established like 2 or 3 seasons or whatever it was before they did Flashpoint, so when things suddenly change, you're like, what the hell? Why would he do that? Why would he change this? And it makes sense in that aspect. But to do it in the movie when, again, you haven't established a universe other than, oh yeah, here's Justice League because we know that's what everyone wants, and we're trying to catch up with Marvel so quickly that we're not going to establish our universe, we're just going to give you the big finale that you want right from the start, and that just doesn't work. So to do Flashpoint, part of me thinks it would be good and you can just kind of reestablish everything, but part of me also agrees with the guy I work with that there's not enough established to really give a damn when something changes. So that's enough of me ranting about this. It had potential, it's watchable, but it's going to fall into the same problems that everything else from DC is falling into, and that's Warner Brothers is sticking their damn noses in instead of letting things stand on their own and work with what you have and make something out of it. They keep shifting everything around, changing everything, reshooting everything, and they're just making a mess out of what could be a good franchise, even with the rough starts. So, what would I give it as far as a star rating? I was going to say a 3 because honestly it's just a middle-of-the-road film. It's watchable, it's a movie, it's finished to a degree, even though some of the effects look unfinished. But there's just so many problems with it that could have easily been fixed had they just taken the time to establish the universe first. So for that, I'm going to give it probably a 2.5. Yeah, actually, I'm going to give it 2.5 because, like I said, the bromance between Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent is really annoying and doesn't fit Batman at all. So I'm going to go on another little tangent here just for a minute. So Bruce Wayne goes through all this trouble to bring Superman back from the dead, and then he just kind of like crushes on Superman, and that's like the whole thing is like, oh, I have this huge man crush on you, I want to suck you off and all this stuff, and it's just, it's not who Bruce Wayne is, it's not how he would act in this situation, and fuck Ben Affleck, because you're someone who's been a Batman fan your entire fucking life, you know how Batman should act in situations, what the hell are you doing portraying Bruce Wayne or Batman the way you're portraying him? You're a piece of shit, you don't deserve the fucking role, and I hope you go somewhere else. Go back to directing films, because you seem to be a lot better at that than you are at acting. I may seem like a lot of rage here, but here's why. As soon as Superman shows back up, Batman gets this, oh my god, he's back, look on his face, like he's basically creaming in his fucking tights because his boyfriend is back. And then later on, Batman is kind of expositing to Superman, like, what's going on, and Superman kind of throws out this line like, oh, I know you didn't bring me back from the dead just because you like me. And then Bruce kind of like pauses and he's like, well, it's not that I don't like you. It's, you know, it's just like crushing girl doesn't know how to talk to the boy that she has a crush on because he says hi to her. And it's like, fuck off. Fuck that. Fuck this movie. Fuck Ben Affleck. But yeah, it gets a 2.5. I don't have anything else to say about this. It started out good and then just went to shit. And like I said, had they bothered to cast better characters, which I've said from the start, and had they taken the time to establish the universe, it could have easily been a 4. But because of Warner Brothers' heavy involvement in fucking everything up and poor casting decisions, it gets a 2.5. If you like the other stuff in the DC universe, go check it out. If you don't, stay away from it. Honestly, you want to watch a better Justice League film, go watch the animated stuff that DC's put out. It's all better than this. So that's it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are down in the description. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you get notifications every time I post new content. Until next time, I'll see you after the credits.